Last summer, I pulled 47 pounds of tomatoes from 4 plants that took up less space than a standard raised bed. The year before, I got maybe 22 pounds from 6 plants using synthetic fertilizer. So I more than doubled my harvest in half the footprint with fewer plants, and I did it with no expensive fertilizer. I want to tell you exactly how that happened, because it did not come from a gardening catalog. It came from watching my neighbor Daniel bury leaves from a rough-looking plant next to his tomatoes. When I asked what it was, he smiled and said, "It's in the oldest book on farming ever written, Leviticus 25. Read it." That's when I went home and opened my Bible. Today, I am going to walk you through the exact plant that farmers in the biblical world used to restore soil fertility and triple their harvests. A plant that appears in the oldest documented agricultural system in human history and was used for over 3,000 years across the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and the Levant. It is called Comfrey. And stay with me to the end because I will share the simple burial method Daniel showed me that releases more potassium into your root zone than any organic fertilizer you can buy. Here is what you need to understand about the biblical approach to a plant like Comfrey. The Bible records one of the oldest agricultural systems in human history, Leviticus 25, a commandment given to ancient Israel that every 7th year the land must rest. No planting, no harvesting, just letting the soil recover what had been taken from it. This is called the Sabbath year. And for over 1,000 years, farmers in the biblical world took it seriously because they understood something we have forgotten. The land itself, properly fed, provides everything the crop needs. You do not fight the soil, you build it. Comfrey is the plant that does exactly that. It was growing wild across the same regions where the Bible was written, the Mediterranean, the Levant, the Middle East, and ancient farmers in those areas used it not because it was traditional or clever, but because they had to feed large populations from finite ground. There is a practical logic that runs through everything ancient agriculture did with this plant. When you have communities depending on what comes out of that soil, you learn to get more from less. And Comfrey was the tool they used to make that happen. Comfrey symphytum officinale is a perennial herb that has been growing across Europe, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean for thousands of years. It does not look like much at first glance. Large, rough, slightly hairy leaves on a plant that can reach 3 to 4 feet tall. It dies back in winter and returns every spring without any intervention. Cut it down and it regrows within weeks. It is, in the most practical sense, nearly indestructible, and that resilience is not accidental. A plant that can regenerate from a small piece of root left in the ground has built exactly the biological machinery needed to survive almost anything, and that same machinery is what makes it so valuable to everything growing around it. What makes it extraordinary is underground. Comfrey roots go 6 to 8 feet deep into the subsoil, far deeper than any vegetable root, deeper than most fruit trees, deep enough to access mineral reserves that have never been touched by anything growing in your garden beds. Every time those roots draw up potassium, phosphorus, calcium, and nitrogen from 6 feet down and deposit them into the leaves above ground, Comfrey is doing something no fertilizer bag can do. It is mining the subsoil and bringing those nutrients up into reach. Cut those leaves and lay them on the surface, and you are essentially moving deep earth minerals to the exact level where your vegetable roots are waiting for them. Here is where the story gets interesting. The Bible does not mention Comfrey by name, but it does something arguably more significant for anyone thinking about soil and fertility. It encodes an entire agricultural system built around the same principle that Comfrey embodies. Leviticus 25, which we have covered elsewhere on this channel, contains the commandment of the Sabbath year, the instruction to let the land rest every 7th year, to allow soil biology to recover, to return nutrients to the ground rather than continuously extracting them. This is the oldest documented soil restoration system in recorded history, and it reflects an understanding of agricultural fertility that the ancient world took seriously for over 1,000 years. Comfrey has been grown and used in the farming regions of the biblical world, the Middle East, the Mediterranean, the Levant for at least 3,000 years. Ancient texts from those cultures describe it as knitbone and the healing herb, valued for its extraordinary capacity to accelerate biological repair in both plants and people. The same allantoin compound that made it valuable in wound healing by stimulating cell division is what makes it so powerful in the garden. The ancient farmers who grew it alongside their crops were observing something real, even before they had the language to explain the mechanism. What links Comfrey to biblical agricultural thinking is not a single verse but a philosophy. The idea that the land itself, properly understood and properly fed, provides everything the crop needs. You do not fight the soil, you build it. And Comfrey is, in practical terms, one of the most powerful tools ever discovered for doing exactly that. The reason Comfrey has been used for 3,000 years is not tradition. It is chemistry, biology, and physics working together in a system that modern research has now confirmed in considerable detail. The starting point is the NPK profile, the ratio of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that determines a fertilizer's power. Comfrey leaves test at approximately 1.8% nitrogen, 0.5% phosphorus, and 5.3% potassium. That potassium number is the one that changes everything. Studies published in Biological Agriculture and Horticulture confirm that Comfrey leaves contain 2 to 3 times more potassium than farmyard manure. Potassium is the primary driver of fruit and vegetable size, disease resistance, and yield, and most garden soils are chronically deficient in it because vegetables pull it out of the root zone faster than surface composting can replace it. Comfrey replaces it from 6 feet down continuously for free. The second mechanism is allantoin. Comfrey leaves are dense with this compound, which has been scientifically confirmed to stimulate cell proliferation, the acceleration of new cell growth in both plants and animals. It is in most commercial wound healing creams for exactly this reason. When Comfrey decomposes near plant roots, allantoin is released directly into the soil and absorbed by the root system, accelerating root growth and cell division in the plant above. Faster root growth means faster nutrient uptake means bigger, faster harvests. This is the mechanism behind the yield increases that documented trials have recorded tomatoes up to 34% more productive, potatoes with measurably larger tuber counts, brassicas with faster maturity and larger heads. The third mechanism is structural. As Comfrey's deep root system grows and eventually dies back, it leaves channels through the subsoil that become highways for mycorrhizal fungi, the underground networks that connect plant roots and multiply nutrient sharing across an entire garden bed. Comfrey does not just fertilize, it rewires the soil biology of everything growing around it. There are 4 ways to use Comfrey in your garden, and they build on each other from easiest to most powerful. Start with the first one this week and work toward the 4th over the coming seasons. The first thing you can do right now requires almost no effort at all. Cut Comfrey leaves and lay them directly around the base of your plants as a mulch layer. They break down in 2 to 3 weeks, releasing their nutrients directly into the root zone above the soil surface. This is the chop and drop method, and it works on its own, but think of it as the entry point. Once you see what those leaves do to the soil around your plants in a few weeks, you will want to go further. The second method is what this video's title is about, and it is noticeably more powerful. Dig a shallow trench 4 to 6 inches deep next to your plant, fill it with Comfrey leaves, and cover it back over with soil. As the leaves decompose underground over 3 to 4 weeks, they become a slow-release fertilizer directly in the active root zone, a localized compost bomb that delivers exactly what the plant is reaching for. Do this once when you transplant and again at the start of flowering, and the difference in your harvest is visible. If you only do one thing from this video, make it this one. The third method is the most dramatic, and I will warn you up front that it smells genuinely awful. Pack a bucket full of Comfrey leaves, cover them with water, and leave it for 4 to 6 weeks. What you are left with is a dark, pungent liquid that you dilute 15 parts water to 1 part Comfrey tea and apply directly to the root zone. The results in trials have been extraordinary. This is the application most associated with the doubled and tripled yields you see documented in the research. It is not convenient, but it is free, and it works like nothing you have bought in a bottle. The fourth method is the one that changes your garden permanently. Plant Comfrey once at the edges of your beds and let it become a fixture. It comes back every year without intervention. Cut it down 4 to 5 times per growing season and use those cuttings as mulch, trench, fertilizer, or liquid feed. A single established Comfrey plant can supply nutrients to several surrounding garden beds indefinitely with zero ongoing cost. This is the method that ancient farmers used not as a trick or a technique, but as a permanent feature of how a productive garden was designed. Once you have it established, the other 3 methods cost you nothing because the raw material is always there, always growing back. In the 1940s and 1950s, the same conversion of munitions factories to fertilizer production that we have discussed before changed agricultural practice permanently. Synthetic NPK became cheap, immediate, and easy to measure. Traditional plant-based fertility methods, Comfrey, liquid feed, deep-rooted nutrient accumulators, the whole system that ancient farmers had built around plants like this one were abandoned almost overnight because they could not compete on speed or convenience with a bag of granules. The second reason is simpler. You cannot patent Comfrey. You cannot sell it in a bag with a margin. The global synthetic fertilizer industry is worth $200 billion annually, and there is zero financial incentive for any part of that industry to promote a plant that grows for free, regrows every time you cut it, and permanently reduces the need for purchased inputs. Lawrence D. Hills, a British botanist who spent decades rigorously documenting Comfrey's agricultural power from the 1950s through the 1970s, produced some of the most compelling yield data ever published on a garden plant. He was largely ignored by mainstream agricultural science. His work was not disproven. It was simply not funded, not promoted, and eventually not taught. The honest limitation worth naming: Comfrey is not for every situation. It spreads from root fragments. If you dig the roots up carelessly, every piece left in the soil will sprout a new plant. Use the sterile Bocking 14 variety, which does not spread by seed, and it is entirely manageable. Keep it at the edges of beds, not in the middle of them. 3,000 years of farmers in some of the most productive agricultural regions in the ancient world grew comfrey alongside their crops. One botanist spent decades proving it still works. Modern research has confirmed exactly why. And the only reason you did not learn about it from a garden center is that there is nothing to sell in it. If you want to go deeper on how the biblical approach to soil restoration connects to what modern regenerative agriculture is rediscovering, we have a video on the forgotten soil secret that was effectively banned in 1945. Click on it and we will see you there.